we are very happy to have Professor Masami Tateno from Nihon University, the professor of the Chinese studies, to give us a wonderful talk. It's titled Zhuangzi and Dreams, Philosophical and Medical Perspectives. I think it's a great opportunity for the people to understand the Chinese philosophy, especially Zhuangzi, one of my favorite philosophers, and also by a Japanese philosopher who have studied Zhuangzi for many years. So without further ado, let me welcome Professor Masami Tateno.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Somemi. Today, my dear audience, thank you very much for joining me. And at the same time, I do thank Professor Sun. Without you, I can never be here with you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, now, today, I am talking about the Zhuangzi. Zhuangzi, he's an ancient Chinese philosopher. He's a Taoist. So his philosophy is known as philosophy of the Tao. So today's keywords, one is Tao and dreams. Okay, I'll talk about the dreams later. So these are keywords. And first, I'll talk about the philosophy of Tao. Then, in order to depict his philosophy more vividly and precisely, taking a topic of dreams as one clue to his philosophy of the Tao, because dreams are kind of tunnels through which we can get to the world of the Tao. And at the same time, I take my viewpoint of my philosophy of medicine. In this case, philosophical analysis based on the medical background. A little bit more precisely, this time it's a neurophysiological perspective. Since Zhuangzi's philosophical reflections cannot be understood through this just theoretical analysis on language level, but we need something analyzed in deep blue realm of our unconsciousness. So we need neuropsychiatry and physiology for my philosophical reading of Zhuangzi's works. Zhuangzi's words, yes. So now, let's begin with basic idea of the Tao. Okay, fundamental problem. What Zhuangzi viewed most problematic is relativism. He says like this: 非彼无我, or 非我无所取. This is Chinese, classical Chinese, original Chinese. English translation here. Without that, there would never be this I. Without this I, there will be no possibility of recognition. This I and that comparison, relativism, and I, that framework, relative framework. I can only be I, or even I can only be being with that, with this I, that in this only in this relative frameworks. Without that, I cannot be I. And then without I, no one can recognize that. So there's nothing, at least to me. The world, the universe is vacant. I, that relative framework. So it is, I understand it is a little bit hard to imagine, but please try. Imagine that you are floating in the eternal universal space. No gravity, no lights, no sounds. In such an occasion, at the same time, you don't have any stimulant. In such a unusual occasion, can you have your own ego, consciousness? Maybe no. So without that, I cannot be I. What Trans would like to say like this, would like to mean like this. This is what Trans would like to say in this passage, relative frameworks. The most fundamental relative frameworks are subject-object, I and that, I and you, and at the same time, the time and space. But I'll talk about it later, okay. But for now, let's take some of the very simple but crucial example. Here, 3 lines. This is based on the Lao Tzu's chapter 2. He is talking about this kind of situation. Okay, I talk about more daily expressions. I have now 3 lines. Line A is when compared to line C, line A is long. But when compared to line B, then line A is short and not long. So I can say line A is long and not long. But this is a contradiction. It's against the law of exclusive middle. No one can affirm and deny the same thing at the same time. But please, this is the fact in this daily world of phenomena. We can find this kind of example everywhere in this world. We are living in such an illusion-like world. This is a problem that Trans pointed out. Also, yes, Lao Tzu too. Lao Tzu also pointed out this kind of situation as a problematic. But this kind of thought is wrong, it seems to me, such as relative bad, but absolute is good. So we'll take absolute. This way of thinking is wrong because, first of all, absolute, we cannot get into absolute anywhere. We are, limited existence. So we can never get into the absolute domain. At the same time, relative bad, absolute is good. This is another relative. So this kind of thought would be wrong, it seems to me. Instead, we have to get one step closer to the human life, to the self. Then Chuan's answer is Tao. His expression, everything equivalent, get one step closer to the human truth, not absolute. In that domain, it's the Tao, domain of the Tao, world of the Tao, where everything's equivalent in its dignity. In Chinese, character Wang Wuqitun. Okay, let's watch his description. This is original Chinese, classical Chinese chances words. Here, oh yes, Nan Guo Ziji is a name of a master of the Tao. He, yes, Nan Guo Ziji was seated, leaning on his stool. He looked up heaven, breathing deeply. Yes, breathing deeply. This is the point. I'll talk about it later. And then seemed to lose his awareness of his ego in a trance. His disciple, Yanzhong Ziyou, his disciple's name, student, standing in front of him, said, "What's the matter? Could you really make the body like a withered tree and the mind like cold straight ash? You look like another person that you were just a few minutes before." Tsuchi said, "Yan, very good question. I have lost my consciousness of my ego. Can you understand? You may have heard the sound of human pipes, but have not heard that of earth, deep. You may have heard the pipe of earth, but not that of heaven, Tian." This expression for a descending or ascending of the level of consciousness, deeper and deeper or higher and higher. But anyway, Nanko Tsuchi is a master. He attained the Tao himself through breathing practice technique as follows. Okay, through abdominal breathing, one can plunge himself or herself into her or his deep realm of unconsciousness, psyche, where his true self, her true self is hiding. This is a Tao. The unconsciousness domain is the world of the Tao. Then he or she can transcend the relative frameworks. Yes, I pointed out fundamental relative frameworks, subject, object, and time and space. Over these frameworks, one step closer to the human truth. To put it concretely, human nerve system is divided into two systems. This is medically inaccurate a little bit inaccurate. But for now, just for convenience of explanations, please let me talk about this way of sayings. Into two systems. One is autonomic nervous system. Another is a somatic nerve system. Autonomic nerve system is a gastric acid secretion or involuntary muscle. Something like this, all automatically working. And somatic nerve system is like voluntary muscle, raising hands or raising legs or something like that. We can move them all at our will. Two systems, divided, separated. But how about our breathing? It is usually functioning all spontaneously. Yes, we are breathing all spontaneously usually. But at the same time, sometimes we can make it at our will. I can stop, or I can make it long, or I can make it short, or something like that, etc. Therefore, so our breathing is the missing link. This is my terminology between autonomic nervous system and the somatic nervous system. That is the connection, link of body and mind, voluntary muscle and involuntary muscle modality, and also psychosomatic modality. Yes. More precisely speaking, this is our heart, psyche. Upper level, consciousness, reason, where we are thinking about many, many things theoretically, and connected to voluntary muscle. And lower level, here, unconsciousness, hiding our true self, Tao, connected to involuntary muscle, unconscious level. And missing link is breathing, So breathing is the missing link between consciousness and unconsciousness, body and mind, transmuted one through this breathing practice technique. This is the reason why ancient, not only Chinese, but also many philosophers, put so much emphasis on breathing, this breathing system, breathing practice, not only in China, but also Greece and India. In China, Qi. In Greece, Pneuma. And in Indian philosophy, Brahma, etc. This is a shugyo, self-cultivation, philosophical practice in my terminology. For example, the Zen, Chen Buddhism, yoga, martial arts, fine arts. Socrates' voice of daemon. This is Greece. This is Latin. Daemon. He said, Socrates, he could hear the voice of daemon. And Zhuangzi called this clue method to the Tao as Xinzhai, purifying of mind, or so on, sitting and perishing relative discriminations, etc. in his book, Zhuangzi called. And then one would cheat on everything's equivalent. Zhuangzi transcended himself one step over the daily phenomenal relativity to the domain of everything's equivalent, saying 700-year-old hermit, Zhuangzi, and lived only 7-day baby at the same age. But this is anything but a theoretical formulation for fantasy. But this is his reality. He meant that in the world of the Tao, 700 years and only 7 days are just the same dignity of life. We have to attain it each oneself. Theoretical understanding is even harmful to our true understanding. It seems to me like this. Zhuangzi did attain the dignity as his reality of the Tao. or where everything's equivalent. This is the reason why he took this expression. He got over one step or 2, 3 steps closer to the human truth, where relative frameworks are transcended. So anyway, he attained this reality, and we have to understand it just in this way of practice, through this practice, not just theoretically, but practically. Almost other people can understand what I mean, or Zhuangzi said. But if you understood it just literally or theoretically, I am afraid that that's not true understanding. Please attain your Tao first. Can you say the baby only 7-day life? Thank you very much for your birth from the bottom of your heart. Like this, can you say this to the baby from the bottom of your heart? Only the person embodied the Tao can really mean it, can really say so. In the world of Tao, no relative discriminations, because subject, object, and the time and space transcended. Subject, object integrated into one, and time and space framework transcended out of time and space. So no relative discriminations in the world of Tao. I have some examples. Maybe you are playing the guitar. You are much of a guitarist. When you are playing the guitar, do you think about something about the chord or notes or something like that? No, you don't. You don't think about that when you are playing the guitar. You just play the guitar almost all spontaneously, very naturally. At that time, you are the guitar, not to separate existence, not to separate things. You are the guitar. One transmuted, integrated, one existence. Okay? Please imagine when you are playing the guitar. This is when you are in the world of the Tao. Yes. And do you know Gail Sayers, number 40? He's a running back of Chicago Bears. Almost 40, 50 years ago, he was he had a flourishing season and rookie of the years. He got so many touchdowns. Running back, you know, carries the ball to the end zone, getting touchdown. He got so many touchdowns. So flourishing season he had. At that time, he got an interview by a sports writer, sports reporter. Reporter asked him like this, what do you think about when you're running? Then Gail Sayers answered, no, I don't think anything, he said. He answered. All at once, beside him, there his teammate. His name is teammate. Teammate name is Brian Pico. Brian all at once said, "Please think about something. I do want to run too." Yes, he knew. Maybe Gail says also. They all knew that if Gail were thinking about something, he could not run and gather something like flourishing season. All spontaneous, subject, object, and also time and space. There's no such relative frameworks. He just carrying the ball, running. You just playing the guitar. I can find this kind of examples so many. If I have time, I've got another example today. I've got, preparing for you, but now only 2 examples. And in this situation, we cannot express it in our verbal level, by our language, because it's beyond our cognitive functions, theoretical thoughts, so beyond our verbal expressions. So Lao Tzu said like this in his chapter 1, Tao, Tao, Fei Shan Tao. He said, I cannot speak about Tao. Lao Tzu said, Zhuangzi, Zhuangzi talked about the Tao so much. He got many, we can find many allegories, anecdotes, mythologies, so many stories in his book, The Zhuangzi. He wrote, he talked about the Tao so many times, but after that, Zhuangzi said, my words are rubbish words. Don't believe it. He said, 1 yen, rubbish words. So, consequently, Zhuangzi needed dreams as a metaphorical expression or allegorical symbol. It's a kind of symbolism. Because dreams are messages from the domain of the Tao. So he harnessed, he took it as one way, a kind of one trick, one topic for the Tao. So yes, Zhuangzi took dreams as one of his foremost maneuver to depict his reality of the Tao. Yes. So I can take only 2, but a very famous dream of butterfly. Butterfly. This is the Chinese character for dreams. This is skull, dream of skull. So for now, I have to give you also rubbish words in order to convey the core significance of Zhuangzi's Tao. It is a kind of, an expedient. Please understand the core significance of the rubbish words. Okay. This is a butterfly, the book of Zhuangzi. Formerly, I, Zhuangzi, Zhuangzhou, his full name, dreamt that I was a butterfly. Please, this is the first person grammatically, not third person, not he. I. If I would take this in the third person, it could be getting into the epistemological arguments, then get to the skepticism. It is occasionally we can see in the argument of Western philosophers. But this is I. Grammatical is the first person. I dreamt. So this is an ontological argument. His own story. Please understand it. Yes, he dreamed that he was a butterfly. I was butterfly, a butterfly flying around, enjoying what I had wanted to be. Yes, he was enjoying so much, really enjoyed. I did not know that it was Joe. Suddenly, I woke up to know it evidently myself. I did not know whether Joe had dreamt to be a butterfly or a butterfly is dreaming to be Joe. In this everyday relative phenomena world, there must be such distinction as Trancho and butterfly. So when we would understand such dreaming only in the domain of this everyday relative modality, theoretically by our reason, it to be understood as a changing of things in the time-space framework. This is very famous, but and at the same time, not so many problems when one would like to understand this chapter just literally. They can easily translate into his own, her own language, English, Japanese, or any other languages, very easily, but they can't get into the core significance of this story, philosophical story, or philosophy itself. In this short story, Zhuangzi discloses his everything equivalent status, Kua, the status of the Tao, metaphorically, through such a symbolic expression of dreaming which Zhuangzi Kua subject I is the butterfly, Kua object. Subject, object is integrated, one existence. Both are integrated, yes, in the realm of the Tao, integrated into one. He was thoroughly free from this relative frameworks and really happy to enjoy. So he said, enjoying what I had wanted to be. So he said like this. Also, he described this reality as a change. He had to come back to this daily world of the time and space, the modality, to describe his reality. I equal butterfly, equivalent within this relative framework of language. Then he harnessed, he took dreams as for his delineation for because he knew what dreams meant to him. He made use of it as message from the domain of the Tao. The embodiment of the transcendental world of everything equivalent is the core of Zhuangzi's philosophical practice, which he tried to convey metaphorically to us. The moment of its ontological possibility can be formulated theoretically, but an actual practice of self-cultivative inner transcendence. So Zhuangzi took his favorite maneuver, dreams. He knew what dreams were, a vision of the imagery in our unconsciousnesses, the world of the Tao. One more story, a dream of Scar, Turu. Okay, let's see the English translation. When Zhuangzi took a trip to Chu country, name, Chu country, he found a skull beside the street. He felt sorry and asked it, "How did you do this? You enjoyed your life too much and lost the right way unto these consequences?" he asked. And he pillowed it to sleep. In the midnight, the skull came out in his dream and said, "You are talking just like an orator, but all of your talk is just a grief of living man. After this, there's no such a moan. Would you like to listen to the dead man's story?" Trans answered, "Yes." The skull said, "Okay." After that, there's neither the king above nor vassals below. Also, we don't have any obligations. We just see heaven and earth moving as they are, all at ease. Even a king of country can enjoy it more than us. Zhuangzi couldn't believe him and said, "If I could ask the goddess of human fate, human destiny, to rebirth you and take back to your village to see your families and friends, would you like it?" he asked. The skull forward. The skull frowned and said, "Never happen. How should I throw away my great pleasure, which is even above that of king's own, and suffered from everyday human ties?" His skull said. This is a skull, dream of skull. In this story, Zhuangzi made the skull as his spokesman. But first of all, this is very important. Zhuangzi said, this is the story of dream, not the daily world. In the dream, in the world of the Tao. This is a story in the world of the Tao. There's no die, no death, no life. Everything's equivalent. So his spokesman, Scar, In the dominant Tao, everything's equivalent. He never sticks to life, nor did he hate death. He depicted it as a story of the dream, narrated by his spokesman, Scar. Since the story of the dream is that in the world of Tao, so he accepted his death at ease. Okay, above, now I have talked about his dreams of the Tao, his general survey of Zhuangzi's dreams and his philosophy of the Tao. But it is not a story far away from here and now, but it is our story about here and about now. It's our own program. Zhuangzi's dreams are never fantasy, but reality, true self of the Tao that dwells within us in our unconsciousness. So, therefore, we have to note and embody this reality. The reason why Zhuangzi depicted earnestly like this. 古之真人其景不梦，其觉无有。I've read in Chinese pronunciation, but we have our own traditional Japanese way of reading. Yes, I like it because it's tasty to me. So for now, please let me read it in Japanese traditional way. If possible, please taste it together with me. 古の新人は、その祈るや夢見ず、その寒るや憂いなし。Thank you. Sage, in ancient time, when he's sleeping, he didn't dream, because to him, dreams are really reality in his true life, in his true self, as the Tao. So when he's awakened in the daytime, he's got no sufferings, no more. He's not suffering from anything. He never dreamed as a fantasy, since his dreams were his reality. Please taste it. Not only this this passage, but also Zhuangzi's Tao all over. So, thank you very much. Okay, Professor Sun, this is all for today. For my
So,
yes,
awesome.
for my talk. Not this morning, not this evening. No, this afternoon. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You can stop sharing, then we can have the questions from the audience. I believe there are a lot of interesting questions for your talk.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. If I have time, yes, I have time, but maybe someone would like to ask me some questions. So, could you or should I ask you? Do you have some question to me?
Yeah, you certainly. Yeah, let me see. Can you do you want to stop sharing for first, and we'll see more people here?
Yeah. You mean should I continue to be a co-host?
Yeah, you will be co-host, but don't share your PowerPoint, and we go back to the regular Zoom
Yes.
session.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe if I need, I have already appendix. So, could I showing my PowerPoint, sharing PowerPoint on
Sure.
this
You
way?
can continue to do it. Okay, then we just move on and see whether you have any questions. You can either type your question in the chat or just directly ask Professor Tateno your questions.
Hmm.
Anyone? Okay. If not, I will start with a question on my own. So I have quite a few questions actually. So I'll
Thank you. Thank you.
start with one. When you said first, talk about the breathing technique, I want to hear more details because a lot of people today are interested in how to using the breathing skills to help them gain not just a better physical health, but also better mental health. So is that something, I mean, you have more details on how people or Zhuangzi can teach us how to breathe? And then I wouldn't say I want to be a true man, a true person, but still I just get better physically and mentally. That's already good enough. So can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Okay. It is a little bit too much for me because I'm either not really understanding it thoroughly, but you know, as I told you, this is our heart, consciousness, and unconsciousness. Missing link is breathing. So they know that qi, qi is a missing link, respiration, breathing. So um, so almost all the martial arts or fine arts, every art in such a art, you know, all of them are putting very much emphasis on this qi or breathing, because in such a situation, in such a occasion, they can move their hands, foot, even head or something like that, parts of the body as the way, just the way they wanted to move. Please think about it. Yes, we can move our hands, move our heads, or something like that, parts of our body, almost as we would like to move, but not thoroughly. If everyone can move them as their will, at their will, if they can do, all of them, all of us can be a master of guitar or martial arts or fine arts. We cannot, then it would be, breathing or something like that kind of practice would be necessary. Okay, so in any situation, when you are playing the guitar or playing the piano or practicing the martial arts, karate, or for sword fighting, or shouting or judo, or even sports, baseball, football, yes. In any situation, first, concentrate on your abdominal breathing. Deep breathing. And make your consciousness, the level of your consciousness could be deepen, even a little, it will be okay. Gradually, step by step, your consciousness is getting into the blue, deep level of unconsciousness. Then you can find your true self. That means something gift, something trick of your sport or your arts. Then it's a part of Tao. But it's not the whole Tao, whole trick. You have to deepen it. You have to make it deeper every day, day by day. So you have to continue. You have to be going on your way to the true Tao when you are dying. So, one martial arts master said like this, I am the strongest when I'm dying. Yes, he knew this trick, this very important core of that philosophy of the Tao, just the same.
All right. Very nice.
Yeah. May I show you one appendix?
Sure.
This is one scenery of a moving picture of a kung fu picture. Enter the Dragon. Bruce Lee appears in this picture. Bruce Lee, when Bruce Lee showed his technique, showed his skill, in front of his audience. Then, after that, his teacher asked like this. Asked Lee like this. I see your talents have gone beyond mere physical level. Your skills are now at the point of spiritual insight. I have several questions. What is the highest technique you hope to achieve? Then Lee answered, to have no technique. Yes. So-called technique is a kind of a theoretical formulation. It's a logic. It's a theory, just a theory. So he doesn't care about such a theory. So he said like this. He don't have any technique, so-called technique. Then teacher answered, very good. What's your thought when facing on your opponent? When you are standing in front of your opponent, what do you think about it? Then Lee answered, there's no opponent. Why is that? Because the what I doesn't exist. This means the subject I and object opponent is integrated in his psyche, in his unconsciousness. So he said like this. Lee said like this. A good fight should be like small play, but played seriously. A good martial artist does not become tense, but high. Not thinking yet, not dreaming. Ready for whatever may come. When the opponent expands, I contract spontaneously. He doesn't say, but yes, I dare add spontaneously. When the opponent expands, then I contract. When he contract, I expand. All spontaneously, because I am moving with the opponent, together with the opponent. I and the opponent would be transcended. Transmuted, or integrated, one. So I can move very, very naturally, spontaneously. When there is an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. I don't think, oh, I have to hit now. It is a chance. And hit. This is not his way of Tao. Okay? When opportunity comes, the chance comes. He doesn't hit. It hits all by itself. This is subject, object, integrated one, and time and space frameworks are transcended in the kind of the Tao. Maybe Li got his own Tao, and he is talking about the Tao, talking about his Tao, like this.
Great. We have a question from the chat from Dana Roberts. The question is, what do Taoists believe about what happens after death?
Yes. Lao Tzu said like this. Zhuangzi said, Zhuangzi meant almost the same, I think. It's me. But Lao Tzu said, even die, but never perish, is the true longevity. Lao Tzu said like this. Okay, just a minute. Okay. Oh, yeah. Professor Dana Roberts. Yes. Can you hear me? Could you talk to me directly?
And she says, thank you.
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Please.
May I add one more?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
One more topic about this after death. Yes. Zhuangzi said, just the same way, like this. Okay. Yes. Ancient time, sage in ancient time, he never dreams. In this, just before or after this passage, he said, a sage in ancient time did not stick to life, but at the same time, he never hate death. In ordinary or daily phenomena of life and death is, to separate, denying each other two ideas. But in trances, or it seems to me even Confucius understood this important dignity of life, that is, death is a part of our life. So when we can live up our life almost thoroughly, almost perfectly, then we can get into the domain, or we can accept the death very much at ease. Then Lao Tzu said like that, one who died but not perishes is true longevity. If I convey my core importance of the Tao to Professor Dana, I'll be very fine.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Questions? I have one more question for our guest. So the question really about the dreams. You seem to believe that the dreams are really part of reality. I mean, just kind of like alternative reality, which is really interesting. Certainly, I mean, kind of like against many scientific studies, but at least very stimulating in the sense that the dreams displays to offer us a new kind of awareness and the reality, maybe something similar to even like virtual reality, you encountered in a virtual machine. So I don't know, is that what Zhuangzi had in mind, or is something that you interpreted Zhuangzi in that way? I mean, with the butterfly dream, in the traditional interpretation, many people would say, okay, Zhuangzi wasn't certain whether he lived in the dream or lived in the reality. But most people would assume Zhuangzi still had the distinction between the dreaming and the reality, right? It's just try to make sure what is reality, the dreaming, the real reality, or the current experiences are just a dream. So in your interpretation, it seems to be different. It seems that the two kind of like experiences are equally real. That's really interesting. But do you think that that's something Zhuangzi also had in mind, or is just your own creative interpretation?
This translation is all mine, and at the same time, this is a product. This is a conclusion of my own reading Zhuangzi's philosophy of the Tao. When at least from my reading point of view, it could be the Zhuangzi's dream can be translated into this kind of English meaning. Without this kind of understanding, we cannot, for example, understand the true meaning of change of things, uhua. Or many translators translated this Zhuangzi's dream of butterfly, just saying kind of life is very faintly or something like that, or he's just joking and make fun of us readers or something like that. But it seems to me this is very important philosophical ideas, and at the same time, and so with this kind of understanding, we can say only 7 days baby, 7-day life baby is also very important life. not theoretically, but from our bottom of our heart, we can mean it. Without this kind of understanding, it's just a theory. Yes, life is very important. It's heavier than the earth, we can say, but it's not reality. We have to attain, we have to embody the reality, the Tao. Then we can say 700 years old harness, 分子, but and only 7-day life baby. Just the same dignity of life, we can say this. So this kind of translation is is on the basis of my reading of understanding of Zhuangzi's philosophy of the Tao. How understand to you, Professor Sun?
Very interesting. I never really understood the last statement of this dream, this paragraph. So the change of sense, transformation of sense is really, a lot of people didn't know how that fit with the dream, the butterfly dream. So I still want to push you a little bit more. Do you think that what Zhuangzi dreamed as a butterfly flying freely in the world is also a real experiences in a sense for Zhuangzi, something maybe we can encounter in the virtual experiences. Like it's not completely real, but it's still subjectively real because we are fully conscious of it. I just want to see your fine thoughts on that part. Is that the dream experiences just as authentic as the experiences you have in the awake times?
Yes. So this is never the story of in which Zhuangzi likes dream. He hates the daily life. It's full of relative discriminations. It's not a story like this. In the domain of the Tao, the world of the Tao, it's really free, and it's really no relative discriminations. But in this daily life, I have to think about it through in the frameworks of time and space. So I cannot be butterfly at two separate things. So if I understand this situation, I have to say it's a change. It's a changing from Zhuangzi, butterfly, Zhuangzi, or something like that. But it's not true on the reality of the world, in the world of the Tao. He attained, he embodies the world of the Tao where everything's equivalent. There's no relative discriminations. Where I am butterfly. Butterfly is I. Then flying freely. No relative frameworks, no relative discriminations. But just like, please remember the myth of Huntun. Huntun was, at last Huntun died in the relative frameworks. Just the same. In that story, Zhuangzi took harnessed the not dream, but mythology. He tried to true reality in the world of the Tao is not a dream, not a fantasy. It's a reality. But it cannot be expressed in this daily world, in this relative frameworks. So he in this daily world, everything's changing in the time and the space frameworks. Yes, I understand, he said. So changeable things, UFA, is a very important term in this in this chapter, in this story. But no one ever noted this importance. So I just a little bit add some note, parenthetically note this story.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. I actually got a great insight from that and have a better understanding, or at least an alternative understanding of this passage, which is really, really nice. And thank you for that.
Please, thank you very much. Just one possibility of this reading of this story. Take this, my translation. Take my reading as only one alternative possibility. But anyway, this is not just a story that Zhuangzi said that a dream is good, a dream is a fantasy, okay, good, or something like that. Just without any understanding, without any deep understanding of Wufa. That I don't think that kind of understanding is very fine. I'm sorry. I'm afraid.
Great. Okay. Do we have any questions from the audience? We are running out of time. So okay, let me thank Professor Tateno again for giving us a very inspiring and very interesting talk. Certainly not very traditional interpretation of Zhuangzi and dreams, but very interesting and novel interpretation, and very inspiring as well. And also, thank you for the slides and the Q&As. Again, thank you all for coming to this talk, sponsored by the CSUN's China Institute and the College of Humanities. And we hope to see you more in our future talks. Thank you, and bye now. So we stop recording.